Hello, happy Friday. Thanks for joining me today. As you can see, we're going to be drawing this cute little apple and bookworm. If you were here last week with me, we drew the apple already, and I gave you a few ideas of what you can make with them for teacher gifts, gifts to give to other people in your life who are helping you out, like maybe the Amazon delivery guy right now. So we're gonna take that same apple and we're gonna like cartoonify him and add a little buddy to him. So hopefully you've already made the one from last week. If you haven't, you can go back and watch that, catch the replay of the other one to make that apple. But we are gonna get started in just a second here. I'm gonna let you know that I'm also using the shortcuts from my ebook, which is Inkscape Ready Set Go. In it, you'll find all of the shortcuts that I use all the time in Inkscape. They're good for Mac, they're good for PC, and they're just the keyboard shortcuts and the mouse shortcuts to, just save time when you're drawing in Inkscape. So let me show you. So that is a little apple that we did. What am I pointing to? Right there, last week. And we're gonna continue from there and turn him into a little cute cartoon. If you are joining me for the first time, hello. I'm Nadawa from Paper Flow Designs. I am a digital illustrator and blogger, and I teach crafters, probably like you, how to make SVG designs and how to use them in your cutting machines like Cricut and Silhouette and Brother and all that great stuff to make t-shirts, coasters, mugs, lots of things that you can do with them. Let me get out the way and just show you. So if you are joining me for the first time, say hi, let me know where you're watching me from, what's going on with you this Friday. For me, it's already evening. For you, it might be most most of you guys are probably like in the US. So it's probably either lunchtime or the morning for you. For me, it's already like 6 in the evening. All right, so I'm just drawing out like a medium size, small size circle, just using the circle tool. My color is pink on here, but I'm gonna change that color. So I've just gone down to the color menu bar on the bottom and just chosen black. And of course, I'm going to change it from the circle to a path. So if you're looking down, all the way down at the bottom where it has like the menu functions, you can see them kind of like changing as I'm like clicking around and doing different things. It will say that it's changed to a path. Because if you're going to use this in your cutting machine, you don't want to keep them as the shapes elements. Like if you're using the circles, the squares, the triangles, the stars, you want to convert them all to paths first. All right, so that circle converted it to a path, and I'm just squeezing it down and then shrinking it to make like a little eye for him. As you know, as usual, I just like to use basic shapes because I like to make things, easy, especially like for people who are beginners. Because when you open up a program like Inkscape, it can look intimidating with all the tools everywhere, all over the menu. At least I know it was for me the first time that I opened up Inkscape. So I just try to show you things that you can make just using simple basic shapes. And you can do a lot with those simple basic shapes. All right, so I've duplicated the first eye to make the second one, and then I'm just moving it over to the right. I've duplicated that one again because we want to make him smile, and then move it down. Don't worry, he's not going to stay frowning. He's not going to be unhappy. I want him to be happy. So I'm going to flip that over, and I can just double click to get the rotation tools, the rotation arrows, and then just turn that around. So just giving him a little smile. And you see, we've just made these three elements all using that first circle. Oh, I forgot to give you guys an update. I think last time or a couple of times before, maybe 2 weeks ago, I was talking about I was going to get the Christmas tree. Finally, it's done. I picked out my tree. I know I'm a little Late to the party, but hey, it's done before Christmas, right? And all right, we're still using the circle tool here. So now we're gonna make the glasses that we're gonna put on him. So listen, the tree. Um, we got a fake tree, and I'm so happy because all these years, like I've been in France for like 15 years. Every year we get a real tree, and I know people like the real tree smell, and they think like it smells great. I don't like the smell of pine, but it's not just that; it's the whole cleanup and the maintenance of the pine needles. Every year we've been getting a real tree, and finally this year we got a fake tree. I'm so excited. I'm so happy about that. That means when it's time to take the tree down, I don't have to clean up pine needles. I don't have to drag it into the elevator and make a mess and like sweep up pine needles before like the neighbors can come and see it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So like I said, this circle here, this is just going to be the shape of the glasses. So I've duplicated that, changed that color to like this teal bluish color. This is going to be the inside like lens of the glasses. And then I'm going to select both of those circles and then just use the divide function to cut the inside circle out from the outside circle. So I'm kind of going to use it kind of like a cookie cutter. So I don't want to get rid of anything. I just still want those two shapes, but I want that to be cut out. So there you see it. I cut that out. You can see like that thin white circle around it. What happened is it just like cookie cut that shape in there. And you don't see me like going up to the menu bar at the top because like I mentioned before, I just like using shortcuts. It's quicker for me. Um, and like I said, once you get to memorize the shortcuts, things just go a lot faster for you design wise. So here I am just lowering the transparency, making it more transparent, um, to give it more like, an eyeglass kind of, yeah, glasses look. Because I want to be able to see his eyes behind the glasses, obviously. So I've also used the shortcut to open up the fill and stroke menu there. I mean, you can also just, go up to the menu bar at the top, click path, um, find the fill and stroke, but I just find that it goes faster if I just use the shortcuts. All right, so I've duplicated the two circles that I made from the first set. I've just duplicated it. So now I've got the two sides of the glasses, and I'm going to make the little middle section to connect those two sides. I've found that when I am duplicating some things, it's easier for me if I group the elements before I go ahead and duplicate it. So now you see like I've made them and it's not really in the right position that I want it to be. So I can just scoot that over. And since I've grouped the transparent circle, well, it's not transparent, but like the light blue transparent circle and the black one, I can move them back and forth without like moving one out of the way. You know what I mean? So it just kind of stays together as a group. I can ungroup them later on. Let's say if I want to change the color or something like that. But for me, I just find it easier when I'm going to like move the elements around to just sometimes group um, two or three different parts of the design when I'm working with it. Some people like to work on different layers um, to avoid, any issues of you moving things that you don't want to move. I just like working on one layer. I started out working on one layer. I'm used to it, and I think I've tried working on different layers for me, and for me. I find it more of like a headache to do that. because I'll be clicking on something and thinking that it's on that same layer, and then I'm like, okay, I just wasted a couple seconds. Then I have to go click the layers menu and then go and find it. I mean, I guess maybe if you're used to using layers, it's fine. Then it's not going to be a problem. But for me, I'm used to using everything on one layer, and it's not an issue when it's time to export it and save it as an SVG file. I have no issues exporting things, even though they are all on one layer, because eventually, when it goes into, let's say, Cricut Design Space, the layers will come out separate anyway. All right, here I just want to move the eye a little bit over because I can't put the little that little middle section, like see right here in my glasses, the little middle section that connects the glasses, because I have the eyes too close together. So since I've grouped those two circles, like I mentioned before, I can easily move them around, move them out of the way without having to like move, let's say, like the black circle first, and then move the light blue transparent circles next, and then trying to like make sure that they're all lined up. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I do have a cold, so forgive me if I do. Oh, excuse me. It's cold season in my house. All right, so to make the stem part of the stem part, the middle section of the glasses, I'm just using the rectangles tool. So mine's just coming out as the default color, which is blue, but I'm gonna change it to match the black part of the glasses. So with the rectangle, once I convert it to a path, I can just double click to get the nodes, and then I can play around with the sides. So I can pull out the top and then push up the bottom section so that it's curved. If you were with me last week, you'll remember that when we were making like the leaves, I was having like a couple of issues with like the little vein, the inside veins of them, because I was using my graphic tablet, and I think I hadn't used it since I had upgraded to the latest version of Inkscape. But I found a way to turn that little mishap into something that I still liked. So that was fine. Sometimes we make mistakes and they turn out to be okay. All right, so I've got the little middle section of the glasses the way that I want it. And now I'm just going to ungroup those two circles. Remember how I was telling you that I had grouped them because I knew I was going to move them around. So now I'm going to ungroup them because I just want to combine all the little black pieces. So the two parts of the glasses and then the middle section. So instead of having like three parts, I'm going to have one for the glasses, or for the rim of the glasses, I should say, because the inside lenses are still separate. Right, so we have got his glasses on him, made two little eyes for him, his mouth. And remember, we did all of that just using a circle. All right, so once we have the little apple guy done, ready to move on to making the bookworm. We call him a bookworm, but he's just like a little worm. He's his little buddy, his sidekick. It's like when you watch those Disney movies, they always have a sidekick. All right, so to make the worm, I'm just using, you guessed it again, a circle. Using a circle, an oval shape. And of course, I've converted that to a path, just using the shortcut again. If you don't want to use the shortcuts, you can just go up to the path menu and click, click path, and then convert the shape to a path. I'm opening up the fill and stroke menu because it's still transparent since the way my menus are set up, whatever, like the last color that I use or the last settings that I have, that's what's going to be on the next thing that I do. So I don't want the worm to be transparent. So to do that, I've got to go back to the fill and stroke menu and change the transparency and bring it like all the way up to 100 so that it's not going to be transparent. I don't want a transparent worm. I don't think you want that either. All right, so change it to the pink color, and then you can see where the gradient menu is, like all the way at the bottom, where it has like a checkered kind of bar. So if I slide that all the way to the right, it puts it on 100% opacity, so it's not transparent anymore. Because we want the worm to be opaque, just like the apple. I don't want it to be transparent, like the lens of the glasses. So with this oval, we're going to get the nodes and move those nodes around, and I'm going to add a few more to shape them because I want the worm to be kind of like, like an S worm shape. Right now he's looking a little bit like a hot dog. Don't worry. I'm going to just double click to add another node. Remember, the nodes are those squares that you see. So I'm pulling out the node on the top right, and then gonna kind of curve out the top to make the head of the worm. Even though I guess when you think about it, like, do worms, they have heads? I mean, kind of like the same all the way up and down. But since we're making a little cartoon version of him, he's gonna have a little head, he's gonna have a little face. I don't know if worms have faces in real life. I don't think I was that kind of kid who like picked up worms to like look at them and examine them up close. Just kind of like stay far away from them. I'm gonna be sipping on my tea because it's winter and I'm cold. My tea's keeping me warm. I'm just gonna keep adding a few more nodes to shape the worm into like that kind of S shape that I want. And I found that one little trick I'll share with you. When I upload SVGs into like Cricut Design Space, um, no, sorry, not SVGs. I want to say DXF files. When I upload DXF files, because in my Etsy shop, I also sell SVGs and I'll sell like a whole set of different files. Because some people, they're not using it on as an SVG in Cricut or something like that. Like they're using it on a laser cutting machine like Glowforge or another like wood cutting machine. So they want a DXF file. Sometimes I found that with the DXF files, I need to add more nodes to have the curves because otherwise it kind of like loses the curves. That's just one little trick that I found works for me. If you know of another way, let me know. I could be doing it wrong, but I do notice that like when I upload a DXF file into another program, if I don't have enough nodes on there, especially for things with like lots of curves, it will make like a flat line or like a straight line where on the SVG I can clearly see that it's curved, but on the DXF it's not showing up as curved. That could be an Inkscape thing. I don't know if that happens with like Adobe Illustrator. I don't use Adobe Illustrator, so I don't know. If you have Adobe, let me know if that happens to you. If you use DXF files, do you find that you need to like add more nodes to your graphic? All right, so I'm just slowly adding my nodes, shaping the worm. I'm going to use the eye. As you see, I've selected the eye that was underneath. Let me tell you how I did that. Just clicked on the Alt key on the keyboard and then clicked on the eye. And what that does is it lets me select objects um, that are underneath or behind other objects. So it's like kind of like a shortcut, quick way to do that. If you don't want to like move your objects out of the way, you can use the Alt key, and that's the Alt key to select those objects. So I'm just duplicating the mouth here. I'm going to use the mouth for the worm. I'm going to shrink it down to make it smaller because obviously his mouth is going to be smaller than the apples. So you can see here that you can reuse lots of elements from your drawing. You don't have to like completely draw everything from scratch every single time. Once you've made one part of your drawing and it's something that you can reuse somewhere else, I just find it a lot easier to just select it and then duplicate it. And I can, play around with it from there. I can stretch it out, I can make it smaller, I can shrink it, I can enlarge it, I can make a series of them. So all from using, the same design element that you've already done. So now I'm going to make like the sections on the worm, like they have those little different segments. So once again, we're just still using the mouth, the smile from the apple that we used so many times already, changing the color up to make it like a little bit darker pink so that you can see it. I'm using the dropper key here, and then I'm just going to put the dropper tool between the coral color that I picked and then the pink of the worm because I don't want it like really dark the way that it was, but I want it to show up still. And to get that dropper tool, I just use the shortcut, which is the letter D, the D key on your keyboard. And I'm going to start copying and pasting the sections from the bottom to the top of the worm because I don't want to have to redraw each whole section, um, each time if I don't have to. I mean, I could, but why? All right, here I just use the space bar to copy and paste that each time. I can still make them look different. They don't all have to be look the same just because I use the same element and I duplicated it. I can take one, I can turn it a little bit to make it look a little different. I can double click on it to get the nodes and then move the individual nodes. So these are just ways that you can still make your drawing look more organic and make it look more I could say like hand drawn. Even though it's a digital drawing, you can still find ways to make it look, um, more hand drawn by changing little different parts of it at a time, like by using the nodes, by shrinking it, by making it bigger. These are all different ways that you can change your drawing to give it more of like a little personal touch where it doesn't look so static. So if you are joining me while you're on your lunch break or something, I do thank you. Even if you're not on your lunch break, I'm still thanking you. I don't know why I say it like that. I do appreciate you taking the time to join me in these sessions. And even if you're watching on the replay, thank you as well. So here I'm just going to shrink up those segments to make it closer to the size of the body of the worm. I don't want it to be exactly, I could make them the exact shape of and the exact size of the worm if I use like the path function um, to cut out the sections that were overlapping, but I don't want it to do that because like I said, I want it to look, kind of cartoony-ish and kind of organic. So I don't mind if there's a little bit of it sticking out where you can see like the bumps on the edges. I think it adds to the feel of it. So there is our worm. We've given him one little eye because it's kind of like he's to the side like that. His smile, I feel like it's a little big, so I think I'm going to change that a little bit. Now, if you're making yours, you can choose to make it as small or as wide as you like. It's up to you. I felt like before it was just like really big and taking over his little small worm face. Excuse me. So once I have him all drawn out, I'm going to select everything on the worm and group him together because I want to move it easily without like losing some of the pieces. And even if after, let's say, after you group them, you can still ungroup them and make any changes that you want to make later as well. So basically, anything in digital drawing, digital drawing, if you're drawing SVGs, it's not like definitive. It's not like forever, forever. You can always use our best friend, the Control Z, to go back and undo things. Usually, what I would do is when I'm drawing something like this, I would like duplicate it in sections and then continue like further on the canvas. So that way I know I still have like elements in like its basic form before I continue to make more changes to it. Because sometimes it can be complicated to like undo lots of things. And I don't know if this is still the case, but I knew with the old Inkscape, sometimes if I like went on like an undo crazy phase of like clicking the undo button several times, sometimes it would crash and maybe I didn't save like every stage and I'd be like ready to be on the point of tears. So that's why sometimes I like to duplicate a section and save it like on the side for later. And if you've been following me for a little while, you've seen that I do that sometimes. Like let's say we're drawing something that has lots of different steps. I'll duplicate it like maybe at step 3, put it onto the side, and then continue on and do like steps 4, 5, and 6. Maybe save, duplicate it again, put it on the side, and then continue on that way. So that in case I did something I completely don't like and I can't, for some reason, I can't get it back, I still have some of those older versions right there on the canvas, on there on the same layer that I can use. So we've got our worm, we've got him all grouped. So the body, the segments, the mouth, the eye, everything is grouped together, and we're going to put him below the apple. So I can do this in a few ways, either using the shortcuts or going up to the menu bar and clicking on the layer tools. They're not layer tools, what do I want to say? They're like position, yeah, the position tools there. So you can see like the ones that have the little lines and then the arrows on them. That's another way that you can raise something up or lower it behind different things. I'm having a little trouble lowering him down, so maybe if I can try to raise the apple up in front of the worm. Let's see if that'll work for me. I think it's because I have everything on the worm grouped, but I don't want to like ungroup him and then lower everything one at a time. I mean, I could, for example, I could ungroup the worm and then like lower his body and then lower each segment, the horizontal segment on him, and then lower the mouth and lower the eye. But I don't want to do that. And I know I don't really have to do that. So I'm trying to see if I can move the apple in front of him. And that also means I have a lot of stuff to move around too. All right, I don't want to move all of the apple. We'll go back to the worm and want to move him below the apple. All right, so everything on the worm is all grouped together. Aha, got him. So I'll just put that worm behind the apple. I think I might lower him or maybe make him a little smaller. All right, so that is our worm and apple cartoonified. Let me show you. Yeah. So we've taken that, the apple that we made last week, we've taken that and just added some cartoon elements to him, gave him a little, his eyes, his mouth, a little set of glasses, a little buddy worm to join him. And that was all done just using the same basic simple shape. So you see, we use the circle shape a few times to make all of the elements that we've done today to transform this. So I would like to know if you like this, if you're going to try it yourself. If you are, like I mentioned before, I do have my shortcuts ebook if you're interested in that. I also have a full um, course that teaches you how to make your own SVGs because I know a lot of you are interested in doing that, either to make them for yourself, for friends, for family, or to sell them. So if you're interested in that, I have a course. You can find that at paperflowdesigns.com. That is PAPER designs plural.com. And you can go over there and find out about the course. And you can also sign up for my VIP group, which is completely free. And you'll be the first to know when I'm coming on live to do another Draw With Me session. And yeah, I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you enjoyed being here. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below in the comment box. And I like to come back and check to see if people have questions, if you had anything to say, there wasn't something I was clear about. I'll check it after. And I'll see you again next week. I don't know if I'm going to come on Thursday or Friday since it's going to be a holiday week. Christmas is coming up. But like I said, if you are in my VIP group, you will know. I'll send you an email and you'll be the first to know what day that's going to happen on. All right. See you for now. Bye.